Hi, it's Wave, and if you're a Disney fan or plan on going to the theme parks, you guys should know about what the Jazz Pass is and see if you qualify. I'm going to be breaking down into chunks. It'll be what it is, how it's used, my experience, and the pros and cons. So let's get right to it. The Jazz Pass is basically similar to the Genie Pass, where you can select rides, but there are limitations to it. But this is for anybody who has a disability. So if you don't have a disability, this video isn't for you. But if you know somebody that has a disability, whatever the circumstances, or have a relative or family member, then this will be really helpful so you guys can enjoy the experience, but also they can as well. The Jazz Pass, like I said, is similar to Genie, but you can only have up to 2 rides in your Disney Plus app, I think it was. There's 2 apps if you go to the one in Orlando, and then there's another one if you go to what was it, California. I think they're 2 different apps. I'll have to double check. So whichever one you're going to, when you plan your trip, you want to apply for an application form. The good side is that it can be done online versus doing it when you get there at the parks. When you apply for the application, you gotta fill out the form. Then they'll tell you any available spots that they can call you, because they will have to do a video call to make sure and verify and all that, which is completely understandable. They won't check if to prove you have disability. You just explain like what you have. Documentation, I don't think it was how we did it, but once you have that, they allow you to pick 2 rides that you want, and then they show what time slots they have available, so that way the day of your trip, instead of waking up at 6 in the morning and planning it with the Genie Plus, you already have 2 rides that is already scheduled in, and you don't have to worry about filling it in and then competing with everybody else to get that same ride. But like I said, it's whatever time slots they had available for it. But also what you can do is that on the day of the trip, if you feel like you don't want to go on that ride at that time slot because the ride happens to be low ridership in the normal lane, or it's very, very quick, like say it's only a 5-minute wait, then you can just cancel that and then pick something else. But like I said, you only capped at 2 rides to schedule in with your Disney app, and you need the app in order to use it, unfortunately. Once you have that, you scan it just like on the Fast Pass, like you would with the Genie Plus, whether it's on the app or if you have a Disney card. We got the card because we weren't sure if the digital wallet was gonna work or not, because I know people were complaining about the Disney system like malfunctioning at times, so it's better to have the card and all that. And once that ride is complete and you went through it, it automatically updates in your app where you can select another ride. So the good thing about it is, if you want to go to, say, in Magic Kingdom, the Dwarf ride, and they have it for 10, and the waiting line is currently at 30 minutes, you can select it, but the thing you have to know that that's the time slot you're actually able to go to. So you can't just hit the time slot and then go right to the ride immediately. You have to wait until that time hits. So we actually had that incident happen to us where we punched in like literally a minute early and said, oh, you have to wait that minute. So then once a minute happened, then we're able to access and then go through the Fast Pass. So it's a pretty cool thing, with of course the limitations, but at the same time, whereas you waiting for those time slots to happen, you could be on other rides while you're at it. Or while you're waiting in line, you can pick another ride or cancel, whatever you choose. Another feature is that if you're going to the park with a group, say like a family, everyone can have the app and they can pick the rides and all that. Of course, it's too limited for everybody. But the thing is, whoever picks the ride, the person that's disabled has to be on that ride as well. Otherwise, it won't work. And that's to actually ensure in Disney's part that people aren't using it to not pay for the Disney Plus Pass. That's strictly for the person that is able gets to enjoy the ride, and also anybody that they're in their group with them can also go too. Now, say that the person that's disabled and another member wants to go on the ride, but the other two members don't want to, they can opt out and it'll be a fine. So if that were to happen, then once the person that's disabled and the other person member goes with them, then on the app it will show that it went completed, so you can pick another ride. So it's pretty convenient. So when it came to my experience using it, I wasn't the one that was disabled, but for some reason, when my mom applied for the application, because she's the one that's disabled, they assumed for some reason that I was. For Magic Kingdom, the first day we went, it showed that that I was the one that was disabled and she wasn't. So it was gonna be that I had to be on the ride for every single one when it was meant for her. So my dad and her had to get that situated at the guest park, and that took them, I think it was like 30 minutes or 45 minutes. Whereas me and my brother, we went to the first ride, which was Space Mountain, because my mom is not into roller coasters. So we waited in line for that for like 25 minutes because a cast member actually were offering 2 pairs, and it happened to be, we got to be one of them. So the ride went quicker for us. But for them, when they got the whole thing situated, they were able to get on 12 rides, I think it was. Whereas when me and my brother, when we didn't get to go with them because we just wanted to do all the crazy stuff first, and my mom wants to do the kiddie stuff, we went on 3 rides because it was so packed that day. Everybody wanted to go to Disney in the summertime because the whole COVID was like considered officially over. So it was very, very crowded, especially for the fast lane, because everybody was using that too. In the afternoon, when we went with them using the Jazz Pass, we were able to get on a couple of rides. So it was pretty convenient, especially as each day went on, because we went to each park on a different day instead of the same day. So when we went to, instance, the next day was Epcot, we had the ride selected, and then the first ride was the Remy Ratatouille ride. So we had to wait a bit, so we got to explore the shops and all that. And then as soon as it was time, we were in the fast lane, and we were in an instant, and we saw like the huge line for the normal ride. But also Epcot has like a few rides. Now another thing to also factor in is that the Jazz Pass does not work for the queues. That was something that I didn't know that was a thing until I was like doing research before I went to the trip. At Epcot, they had the Cosmic Ride, and we went to that ride when that was like open like the 3rd week. So for that, they had the time slot in the morning and then in the afternoon at 2 to sign up. So that had to be done on the app because they don't do the normal wait lines or the fast lane. So the Jazz Pass won't work for that. You have to apply for that on the queue on the app. So that's when the Jazz Pass won't be useful and all that. But we were actually able to, which I don't like the queue thing because it takes away the purpose of just having fun and just going on the rides and all that, and then also using a phone to have access to it. So if you don't know it before going on the trip about the which rides are only the queues, reserve spots, and which aren't, you're not gonna enjoy the parks as much. So another thing also with the experience is that because of that issue with Magic Kingdom, they got that fixed. So Epcot was fine, but for Animal Kingdom, they had that situated where I was still the one that was disabled, but Hollywood Studios they had that fixed. I think there's just a good glitch in the system that just didn't bypass through. So hopefully they get that situated, because that's very inconvenience, and that just wastes much time and frustration and less enjoyment overall, because you're paying a lot of money to go to the parks. It was great for what was it, Hollywood Studios, because we got to do a lot of the fast pass through it, and because Hollywood Studios is also limited in rides, there's a lot of waiting. So if you had Genie Plus or the Dash Pass, you were more set. Of course we had to wait a bit, but the thing is, since we had to wait for like 15 or 20 minutes depending what time slot that they had at that time, by the time we walk all the way to it, it was already opened. So that's a great thing. Another thing we noticed is that certain rides you cannot do the Jazz Pass for. It has to be the queue, like I said. So for instance, the Star Wars ride in Hollywood Studios, that's the new one that they have that's really, really popular. That on the website said it wasn't going to be part of the Jazz Pass package and all that, which is fine, because we're not really big Star Wars fan, and I seen what it looks like, wasn't a fan. But the day we went to Hollywood Studios was the day that they actually allowed it for some reason. So we end up going on the ride in the end. So I'm not sure if Disney decided to change their minds at the last minute, or that was a flaw in the app system. But just be wary of that. And as if I'm filming this right now, I don't know if they changed anything from like the restrictions, if they expanded the up to 3 rides, or if it's still 2 or whatever. Because I know, for instance, the Genie Plus, they keep changing that all the time. So if you were interested in taking the Dash Pass for, of course, disabled, look it up, ask all the questions. Even if you have everything planned, the day you go to the park may change that minute. So that's the thing. So the pros of it is that, of course, if you are disabled, there is something, and it's completely free. You just have to go through the process of applying. The good part is that you can apply online in advance, which I really suggest that, because when it comes to paperwork and all that, they take a really long time. So the day you purchase your tickets, if you were to do this planning ahead, like with a family trip on a holiday or something, pay in advance for those tickets, and then the same day get a head start on the application and all that, because for instance, the time slots to actually talk to someone may be like 2 weeks later or something like that, or it'll be at a time where it's like a Pacific time date. So bear that in mind. Another thing, like I said, it's free. So if you're disabled, I highly suggest taking it. That way you can just have more relief knowing that you can enjoy the rides and not miss anything, depending on if your day happens to be really packed with a lot of people or not. Or for instance, if it rains. That was a thing also. For Thunder Mountain, I didn't go on it with my family because I just wasn't feeling well. But they wanted to go on it, but it got canceled because it started to rain. And then once it stopped raining, they started had technical difficulties, so they didn't get that time slot that they're supposed to. They had to wait until they got the ride fixed, and then they're able to go on it. So I couldn't remember if it was it would cancel it off or it'll let you still keep it. I couldn't recall that, but that's something to bear in mind. So I'm not sure if it updates the system or not. I know for Genie Plus it does, so maybe that's something to consider. Another pro is like you can pick the rides that you want that are available basically anywhere. So say that you are in one side of the park and your other members are in the other side of the park. You can see if they happen to pick a ride that you all want to go to and they found it before you do while you're inside one ride, they can do it, and then you guys can head over to that ride when that time comes. So very flexible and all that. You can definitely pick it while you're eating, or say just like resting, and then, or even like waiting in line. That's a great thing about it. Now for the cons. You do need the app, so you need a phone that has like a strong battery life. If not, then you're gonna need to bring your charger and your a portable charger as well. So that is kind of inconvenient because you need to bring more stuff. Another thing is, if you go to the park with a portable charger, make sure you have it out with your hand. Otherwise, they think you have something, and then you have to go to checkout to be scanned and all that. So just have that in mind if you do that. It has limitations where the Genie Plus, where you pay for that, you have access to everything. The con, of course, which is basically obvious, if you're not disabled, you can't qualify for it. But if you have a family member that's going with you, relative or a friend, then they can apply for it and then you guys can enjoy it. Another con would be that applying in advance and having that situated beforehand, and then at the day of the park something happens. So that really is an inconvenience, but hopefully they have that situated and the company improves on that. So my overall thoughts about the Jazz Pass. If you're disabled, definitely take advantage of that, because I know that for people with disabilities, whatever it's like physically, or whether it's like it has to do with like the inside of you that can be physically shown that you have it, it's good to have it. That way you can at least enjoy the parks, whatever case, have a better experience overall. Please, if you are not disabled, please don't fake it and all that, because that really takes away from people that desperately need it and that they aren't aware about the Jazz Pass. And it would be really, really sucky that because one person decides to fake it and all that, they get rid of the whole entire thing completely because of that incident. That's my overall thoughts about the Jazz Pass. If you're disabled, take advantage of it, enjoy it, it's free. Just have to follow those little requirements, application form and all that, if you decide to go to the Disney parks. So yeah, so that's all I have. If you're interested in these videos, please like and subscribe. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye!